What is monopoly capitalism? Have you ever wondered how a few large companies can dominate entire markets? This phenomenon is known as monopoly capitalism. It represents a stage of capitalism where big monopolies or cartels control most significant markets. This shift began in the last quarter of the 19th century, moving away from free competition among smaller firms. In monopoly capitalism, a small number of corporations hold immense economic power. These monopolies often merge their interests with the government. This relationship creates what is called state monopoly capitalism. In this scenario, the government steps in to protect these large businesses from competition, especially from smaller companies. The state acts as a guardian for monopoly capital, helping them maintain and expand their dominance. From a socialist viewpoint, monopoly capitalism is not a step forward for capitalism. Instead, it highlights the contradictions within the system. It intensifies the exploitation and inequality that capitalism is known for. Wealth and power become concentrated in the hands of a few, while many people remain in poverty or economic hardship. The standard of living in wealthy capitalist countries often comes at the expense of extreme poverty in less developed nations. Monopoly capitalism is also closely linked to imperialism. Monopolies aim to expand their control beyond their home countries, tapping into global markets and resources. The state's role here is to support these monopolies, both at home and abroad. Policies often favor the interests of large businesses over those of workers or smaller enterprises. Socialist analysis argues that the existence of monopoly capitalism demands a political response. It calls for alliances among the working class, progressive middle classes, and small businesses. Together, they can oppose the combined power of the state and monopolies. The ultimate goal is to dismantle the monopoly capitalist state and replace it with a socialist state. This new state would serve the interests of everyone, not just a privileged few. In practical terms, overcoming monopoly capitalism means breaking the ties between the state and monopoly capital. It involves reorganizing economic and political structures to end exploitation. Establishing collective ownership or control over the means of production is essential. Transitioning from monopoly capitalism to socialism requires not just economic change but also a fundamental shift in the state's role. The state should become a vehicle for social and economic justice instead of protecting monopoly interests. In summary, monopoly capitalism is a stage of capitalism marked by the concentration of economic power in a few monopolies, supported by the state. This leads to greater inequality and exploitation. From the socialist perspective, addressing monopoly capitalism requires revolutionary change to create a society based on collective ownership and democratic control of the economy and state.